Hello there. If you were to ask what my favorite video games of all time are, most of my list would probably consist of games from the Super Mario Bros. Series. Through its ups and downs, it's hard to deny the impact of these beloved video games and what they have done to popular culture. But how did this popular series first come to be? Let's find out, shall we? Mario first appeared in the arcade game Donkey Kong in 1981, and already the general premise of his future games came to place, as a short, mustached man tries to save a princess from a monster. However, in this initial appearance, his name was Jumpman and he was a carpenter. Created by Shigeru Miyamoto and Nintendo, the game involved Jumpman going up different levels to reach his girlfriend being held captive by a barrel-thrown ape. The game was massively popular, and thus Jumpman was renamed Mario, became a plumber, was given a brother named Luigi, and then his own arcade game, Mario Brothers, in which they have to stop the turtles that are coming out of the pipes. Once again, it was very successful, and in 1985, his real big break finally came when Super Mario Bros. Was released for the Nintendo Entertainment System. With its use of a side-scrolling screen and its easy controls, it's no surprise that this video game proved to be fantastic, and it still holds up as probably one of, if not the greatest video game ever made. It's not a simple game, but it's not impossibly challenging either, and thus gives it a nice middle ground. Each level is creatively put together with the various creature designs for different purposes, stop Super Mario Bros. From being too repetitive, and thus allowing it to be played again and again and again. Koji Kono's fun and addictive theme music also is a major part of the enjoyment. Instead of simply repeating the same theme again, each level presents a new musical score, and thus Kono can also be considered the John Williams of video games. Not surprisingly, a sequel was quickly commissioned, and though using the same formula as the first game, Super Mario Bros. 2 was also noticeably more difficult, but it nonetheless remains a fun game. Though it did take me ages to figure out how to get past the unlimited cursor level on World 4-4. However, Nintendo of America thought the game was too difficult, so it did not get released in the rest of the world until much later, when it was called The Lost Levels. Instead, the Super Mario Bros. 2 that was released to international gamers was just a reworking of Doki Doki Panic. The result was thus a very different sort of Mario game, which had a whole bunch of even stranger looking enemies, as well as the ability to throw vegetables. It's a pretty solid game, but it's such an odd part of the game's continuity since it's nothing like the rest of the series. That said, the gameplay is pretty solid, and I like the ability to play Peach and Toad as well. Nonetheless, the game was a success and very acclaimed, even if it wasn't the real Super Mario Bros. 2. When Super Mario Bros. 3 was released, fans were not cheated this time, as they got yet another classic video game on par with the first one, with improved graphics, wonderful settings, and challenging new enemies. This was a fun and exciting game that deserves all the recognition it's gotten over the years. The anticipation for the game was so high, it even got a sneak preview in the cult film The Wizard, when the final climactic battle featured the title character Jimmy playing the game and even finding the secret warp whistle.
Now, Video Armageddon. He's gonna take a lot of guts.
You keep going!
A little magic.
You're the best!
And the Wizard, Fred Savage.
With the release of the Game Boy in 1989, it was no surprise that soon enough Mario made his portable debut with Super Mario Land, which was also notable for being the first game in the series not to be created by Miyamoto. However, that doesn't negate the fact that this was a very fun game that still kept the Mario tradition. They even brought Mario to other worlds by giving him an airplane and submarines, as well as having him explore Egyptian pyramids and Easter Island, thus putting him in a different universe than the Mushroom Kingdom. Mario also starred in the launch title for the Super Nintendo game system, Super Mario World, which not only brought Mario to the world of 16-bit graphics, but also introduced a lovable dinosaur Yoshi who was able to eat enemies and fart them out as eggs. It also brought new powers to Mario and also continued the ability from Super Mario Bros. 3 to go back and replay levels whenever players feel like. With the massive worldwide success of Super Mario Bros., Hollywood soon came a-calling. DiC Entertainment produced the first of 3 animated series in 1989 with the Super Mario Bros. Super Show. Featuring live-action segments as well as animated segments, the episodes usually involved Mario, Luigi, Toad, and Peach trying to save the Mushroom Kingdom from King Koopa. You know, their usual Friday afternoons. The television show usually had off-kilter animation and strange happenings, but there is a certain oddball charm to the proceedings that allows the show to be watchable to the extent, much like its close cousin, The Adventures of Sonic the Hedgehog. And this tradition continued onto The Adventures of Super Mario Bros. 3 and Super Mario World animated series as well. However, I'm surprised that though Mario continually proves to be a massively popular character, it's been almost 20 years since we've had a Super Mario Bros. Cartoon. Surely there's time for a new one, maybe this time featuring the computer-generated versions of the characters. Super Mario Bros. Also became the first video game to be adapted into a live-action feature film. And it stunk. Instead of transporting the fascinating world Miyamoto created, they took character names and nothing else, instead producing a mess with poor jokes and embarrassing performances from even talented actors like Bob Hoskins and Dennis Hopper. The action was so cluttered, the set design was ugly, and the characters were poorly developed and unsympathetic. Outside of Alan Silvestri's musical score, which isn't half bad, there's nothing positive I can say about this film. Though it was a massive bomb in its release, it's gotten a bit of a cult audience since then, but for me personally, I was shocked that they could take these amazing video games and make something so horrendous. It's not like it's that difficult to make a decent Super Mario Bros. Film, considering the story of the games is pretty similar to Star Wars, but they did a bad job. If you're wondering why there hasn't been a Legend of Zelda movie, blame this for Nintendo being very careful who they give their film rights to. Not that I blame them.
Before time runs out.
Shoot him!
Get him! Yes!
No, stop!
Gotcha.
No, not again!
Super Mario Brothers. This ain't no game.
Back to the games, Mario made the leap to being a 3D character with Super Mario 64, the launch title for the Nintendo 64 in 1996. The result was something truly fantastic, with multiple camera angles and a majestic control in addition to actual thinking and problem solving when playing the game, which destroys the stereotype that video games cannot stimulate the mind. The different world and the story also gave Super Mario 64 uniqueness, as well as the different ways the player can win the star in each level. In addition to Mario, developers also did a great job of producing three-dimensional models of Toad, Peach, Bowser, and Yoshi, as well as nods to enemies in the use of the different caps. Most notably, giving Mario the ability to fly was a terrific idea. Water levels is still somewhat annoying, but that's a tradition that goes back to the first Super Mario Bros. Game. Unfortunately, Luigi is left out, despite rumors stating that he's hidden somewhere through the game. In addition to continually saving Peach from Bowser again and again, which makes you wonder why Mario has not signed her up for martial arts lessons so she can fend for herself, Mario also finds time to play various activities. He holds parties, he participates in fight games against other Nintendo characters, and even plays tennis and golf, and has been an athlete in the Olympic Games. However, Mario's best achievements have been in go-karting, starting with Super Mario Kart for the NES, and continuing on through the Nintendo 64, Game Boy Advance, and the Wii. Mario Kart utilizes the racing game formula by adding items and the characters in a way that gives it that classic Super Mario Bros. Feel. It's also an incredibly fun game that is easily replayable, and whether you're playing alone or against somebody else, it's a quick finger game that also requires one to think about how to steer the right moment and aiming the shrinking balls and green turtle shells when necessary. Each player is also exceptional in their own way. Using Peach has its advantages, but so does Mario, my player of choice, or Yoshi, even Bowser, who manages to frustrate whenever he even lightly touches another player. Of course, the blue turtle shell of death also annoys, especially when hitting you right before the finish line. Nonetheless, in addition to the traditional side-scroller games, Mario Kart is usually the video game in the series I find myself playing the most. The Super Mario Bros. Franchise even has its fair share of puzzle and educational games. There's some really good ones, like Dr. Mario, which is a take on Tetris, complete with an awesome theme tune. On the other hand, we have Mario's Missing, which for my money is the worst video game I've ever played. Which is a shame because Luigi is probably my favorite character in the whole franchise, and so terribly underused. And yes, I'm still disappointed in that character profile I made, and this video is actually my apology for that early effort. Mario's latest hit game has been Super Mario Galaxy for the Nintendo Wii, which was excellent in its use of camera angles and its use of the capabilities of the Wiimote, and the motion sensor allowed it to be one that puts you in there. The spinning planet concept allowed it to set apart from previous Mario games while still keeping it with the traditions. It actually fits nicely into the continuity set by Super Mario Bros. And then later by Super Mario 64, and I really like when the game shifts to side-scroller mode, not to mention Koji Kondo's delightful soundtrack. In conclusion, the Super Mario Bros. Games will always be a major part of popular culture. Not only are they fantastic video games with breakthrough controls and important for exercising hand-eye coordination, but they feature a likable set of characters who allow the players to connect with the game in question. Now, before you comment that I forgot Super Mario Sunshine or Luigi's Mansion or Yoshi's Island or what have you, keep in mind that there are so many Super Mario games, and I haven't played them all. But in a way, that shows the care Nintendo takes in a character that pretty much launched them into becoming a trusted corporation. And they haven't milked the series dry. Now, if you'll excuse me, I'm out to the Mushroom Kingdom to save the princess. See you next time.